Venus Fridays, let's talk about what is going on with the divine feminine energy this week. So we can tune into it both with Venus and with the moon, right? So Venus is the planet that represents our divine feminine expression, that energy, the yin side of the yin and yang symbol from China. And then the moon represents like our soul and connects to our emotional, right? The waters of our bodies. It has that impact on the tides as well as like the waters of our bodies, our menstrual cycles, etc. Right? So, but the moon really connects us into that place of our soul being, our soul longing. And as women, that's another expression of the feminine for us. Okay, so today Venus is in a square with Uranus, right? So Venus, divine feminine, Uranus, I think of Uranus as like, we know it as like the change planet, the change agent, revolution, unexpected things happening. But also, I think of Uranus as the place that we connect into that universal mind, where like Neptune is the place we connect into that universal heart. So the universal mind, right? Awareness, consciousness is in this square with Venus. And so I think there can be a little bit of a like motivation. Squares are dynamic and they ask for motivation. They bring motivation, right? Something wants to happen. So it's just a great time to kind of lean into like, you know, is there anywhere that you're feeling you want to bring more consciousness to your feminine expression, more change within that? Is there something where it's like, this thing, I'm kind of holding myself back in this certain way of stepping into more of my power? That's a good thing to kind of ask today. And, what are some little micro actions that you could take, or a micro action, a small step that could help bring more awareness to this thing that is wanting some shift and change, right? That helps you be more of your feminine, empowered self, right? Okay, so then tomorrow on Saturday, the moon enters Leo. So that soul kind of longing, feeling, that emotional aspect of, I would say the question to ask with the moon being in Leo is, how can you cultivate more love for yourself? Again, I'm all about like these small steps, right? Like we can't take on too much at one time. The moon is in Leo just for a short amount of time. But what is something that you could at least, like on the heels of yesterday, think about the heels of today, really, but what, where could you be more conscious in how you care for yourself, how you love yourself, right? That's what a moon in Leo is asking. And then on Sunday, we have that Leo new moon where this moon meets with the sun in the sky. We can't see them because they're with the sun, and the moon is in the dark of the moon, right? So it's the time that we want to set our intention for the new moon cycle that's starting, right? The monthly moon cycle starts with the new moon, that time of going inward. So on Sunday, it's a good day to sit in that stillness just for a moment, that reflection, or do ceremony, right? Something simple, or it can be something more elaborate. It's a fire sign, so it can be, you could bring fire into your ceremony. You could just simply light a candle and write out what your intentions are for this 1 month from a Leo new moon perspective. So more about kind of what we were talking about for Saturday of like, what's an intention that you could set? What's a small step that you could take over this month that cultivates like a deeper connection to yourself, your divine nature, like who you are, your soul? It's the moon meeting with the sun, spirit. What is something that you could do that's a small step that just helps align you more with a deeper sense of love and connection to your spiritual self, your spiritual side? I always like to say, remember too, like micro actions, like SMART goals, if you're familiar with that idea of like, you want it to be something that you can like tell at the end of the month that you did, right? As opposed to, my Leo new moon intention is to love myself more. Well, how will you know if you did that at the end of the month? But if you say, my greater intention is to love myself more, and the step I'm going to take is I can't even think of something right now, but like one measurable step, like I am going to gosh, sorry, I'm drawing a total blank. Something that is like you can actually do. Like the first thing, and I keep not saying it, but the first thing that's come to mind is like, I'm gonna have like a healthy smoothie every morning for breakfast over this month, or 5 days out of the week or something, right? Where I'm just taking care of myself, and that is me loving myself more. Or I am going to, you know, every day or every other day, I'm just going to sit for 5 minutes in like meditation and connect in with like my heart, my soul energy. This is a way that I can love myself more, right? Or maybe you can think of much better examples than I just came up with on the fly. So this is this new moon intention time, right? And also Venus moves into Virgo on the new moon. So our divine feminine energies moving from that divine nature of Leo into Virgo, that priestess energy who is about serving spirit with her sacred work. So the energy of the feminine moves into this priestess energy, which is like perfect for doing ceremony on the new moon, because that's what the priestess is all about, right? Reconnecting us to our spiritual sides when we're busy with our mundane lives. And Mercury goes retrograde, which there's a lot happening on Sunday. For some of you, Mercury will go retrograde on early on Monday. And so poor Mercury retrograde gets such a bad rap of like, oh my gosh, the whole world is going to come undone technologically, right? But really, Mercury retrograde is this amazing invitation to step into a little bit more of like slower thinking and pondering and our creativity and more of our right brain kind of sides, right? Where everything doesn't have to be going in this linear, perfect line all the time. It's challenging for us because we are so linear, but Mercury retrograde offers an amazing opportunity to just break that cycle a bit and just be, right? It kind of is more of that feminine side of the Mercury cycle. So a lot of feminine energy and empowerment is happening this week. So let us step into our creativity, whatever that is. Maybe we make a fabulous, beautiful meal. Maybe we get some flowers and make an arrangement, or maybe you're a writer or an artist, or you play guitar, or, like just something that like, it's kind of a time to just like settle, right? Mercury's just moving back through the part of the sky that it just came across for us. So our minds can have a break. That's what I think Mercury retrograde offers. And I'm going to show this new moon and what this looks like in stellarium.org, our awesome software I love to use, because I think it's important to tune in. Like, this is really what astrology is about, is what's happening in the sky, right? It's not just like the new moon's in Leo, and that's an intellectual understanding. So here we are at the new moon on Sunday, in my time zone in Colorado at 5:13 a.m. So just to kind of show you, right? Here's the ground. That's the horizon line. You can see early in the morning, Mars, Jupiter, Aldebaran are still pretty close here together. So this will be nice to, have this visual if you're an early bird up early in the morning, and to get to see that. There's the Pleiades right there, if you're familiar with that. And here's Jupiter in the horns of the bull, and Mars is essentially moving into there as well. And that's what, when you think of like the goddess Isis, right? horns that circle, that's like the sun was in the horns of the bull. So this is a very special, sacred part of the sky, right? Okay, so let's turn the ground off so we can see here is the new moon, when the moon and the sun are aligned in Leo here. The moon is not exactly in front of the sun because it's not an eclipse. It's a little bit higher. So there's just what this new moon looks like. I'll maybe move this over a little bit and zoom in so we can kind of see this part of the sky a little bit better in the crab constellation. And then look down here. Here's Venus about to enter Virgo. Virgo Regulus, the heart of the lion constellation, is at 0 Virgo in our lifetimes now. So when Venus or any planet or the sun reaches Virgo, it's aligned with Regulus. So there's this energy of like opening our hearts, more of that Leo type of energy of self-love, right? Opening, but with it being Virgo now, like opening to our priestess natures, the place where we connect into spirit and our spiritual selves, right? And then here's Mercury about to go retrograde, and it's just going to start moving back across the lion here as it's retrograde, and then it goes direct and it'll come forward again. Okay, so that's my little astrology look there. And then finally, let's see. So then on Monday, the moon moves into Gemini, and it is a a time of how do you, oops, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I forgot to turn I was like, wait, the moon can't then move into Gemini. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. So then on Monday, sorry, the moon moves into Virgo. And that's, again, more of that priestess type of energy, that spiritual connection, right? We notice where the stars and the planets are. We notice where what's happening with the plants and trees and the animals, right? It's just a connecting into the earth for our sacred connection. Then the moon comes into, it will touch to Venus and Mercury, right? We just saw it in the sky. So the moon is activating a lot. And when the moon meets with Venus now, because she's in the evening sky, it's so exciting, finally getting to see her this week. When on Monday night, I encourage you to go out and see if possibly you can see that very slight sliver crescent moon with Venus in the evening sky. So just shortly after the sun sets, it has to get dark enough that you can see Venus, see that little crescent moon. And we reach the first gate of the journey back out of the underworld with Venus, right? The moon meets with Venus. We reach this first gate of where Inanna, the goddess of heaven and earth, in the oldest story that we have written down about the Venus cycle, when the moon meets with Venus in the evening sky this first time, we approach this first gate of where Inanna, Venus, is reclaiming her power pieces on her journey back out of the underworld. And so this first gate is the root chakra. So while you're setting your smart intentions, micro action intentions for the new moon, also realize the next day you can start to set an intention around your root chakra. And for the next month, leaning into what can help you reclaim that power at your root chakra, right? What helps you reclaim your inherent rooted connection to the earth, right? All this Virgo energy, how you ground into the earth. So it may be, again, another example of, oh, my intention is to get more grounded through my root chakra. And how do we do that? And how are you going to know that you've accomplished that at the end of the month? You'll do that through connecting into like every day I'm going to go and sit with the tree in my yard for 5 minutes. Every day I'm going to hug that tree, or every day I'm just going to put my bare feet on the actual earth in some way at the park or in my yard or something like that, so that there's some sort of measurable thing that you can do that takes you in the direction of getting more empowered and grounded through your root chakra, because that's where we are in the Venus journey and the Venus story. So a lot is going on this week for the feminine. And then the moon will meet with Mercury and highlights that aspect in the retrograde of the beingness, that feminine side of the Mercury cycle. This is a big, great week for feminine empowerment, divine feminine empowerment, connecting more into our you know, womanly strength and power, right? And then on Tuesday, the sun reaches 15 degrees of Leo, which means we are halfway between that June solstice and the September equinox. So we're at the halfway point of the season of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. And I live in the mountains in Colorado. And so it can be like, oh my gosh, summer goes so quickly. And oh my gosh, it's almost over. But I like to remember we're just at the intermission. We're just at the halfway point of the summer right now. And that feels like calming and settling. So that's nice. And then Mercury and Venus come together on Wednesday, which is a lot of empowerment around our mind and our thinking with the feminine. And there's a long history of like, this is a really empowering aspect of Venus and the dance that they do together. So it's just like feminine, feminine, feminine. This is an awesome week. And then finally on Thursday, the moon moves into Libra. And I would just say start to kind of feel into how do your relationships help reflect more of who you really are, right? And then finally, I'll just add for the aromatherapy, for the people that have asked for that red pine, I think, is a beautiful essence for Venus moving into Virgo, as well as being at the root chakra, right? The pine trees, long, deep roots into the earth. It is red pine. So it is the color of the root chakra. It's very like grounding and empowering and very centering, right? This could be an intention, right? That I'll use red pine every day through this root chakra time to help ground me and be like my touchstone to remember that I am focusing on re-empowering my root chakra through this month until the next Moon Venus conjunction, when we will move into the sacral chakra. All right, it's a big week. Thanks for being here with me, and I will see you next week. Blessings on your massive, excuse me, massive feminine journeys this week.